Hello everyone, welcome back to another video on the channel. Today will be my game week 6 team selection. I'm going to run you through my current team, and at the end of the video I'll run you through my chip strategy and also some of my transfer plans for the game week and whether or not I'm going to hit that triple captain button going into this game week. So let's get straight into it. So we are currently 100k in the world with 2.5 million in the bank, 70 points in game week 5. We used our free hit in game week 4. And that's how we're looking going into game week 6 with my eyes on the triple captain. But let's get straight into the team. On goal, I've got Robert Sanchez and three to back in Matty Cash, Pedro Porro, and Nico Williams. First off, let me start with the defense in front of you. In fairness, on paper it looks great. Going into this game week, I was quite happy, but now overthinking, as the type of manager I am, I don't think it looks so good. Now, let's start with Robert Sanchez. I think there is a chance that he does get a bench. I think it's unlikely, but I do think there still is a chance. Pedro Porro just played 90 in Europe, and so did Nico Williams, and Matty Cash plays tonight at 8 o'clock for Villa. So I could have a full back four here that all played 90 minutes in Europe / our rotation risk, which isn't ideal at all. But where am I at with Sanchez currently? There's only one goalkeeper transfer I think I could potentially make this week, and that is Donnarumma. But for me, Trafford is still looming around, and he could play against his old side. Now, I think it's very, very, very unlikely, but it's just not a risk that I'd be willing to take. So I'll be going into this game week with Sanchez on goal. Cash, if he plays 90 tonight, I think he is a bit of a machine, just hoping for an early sub in Europe. Pedro Porro, again, he's another machine who seems to be playing 90 minutes in every single game he can. And that's one of the perks of Porro. You know, he can play every single minute. But is he likely to get a benching? I don't think so. The reason I think that is Jed Spence also played decent minutes, and he's the only other natural right back at this point who's been playing at left back. And Destiny Azogi did get a benching also. So you'd like to think it's going to be Destiny Azogi and Pedro Porro playing in fullback for Spurs. Again, this will be a game at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium that will really, really suit Pedro Porro. He captained Spurs last night. And we had every single corner that we had almost went through him. We set up in a way where he set up on the edge of the box. So the goal threat is definitely still there for Pedro Porro. Again, I'll be looking to get rid of him after Leeds on Wildcard. Again, slight hint at the chip strategy. But for now, Porro Wolves, I'm quite happy. Nico Williams with Sunderland at home. Again, he got the goal last game week. Quite fortunate. And same with Matty Cash. But going into Sunderland at home, I can't get rid of him, unfortunately. And again, the minutes in midweek, not ideal, but I would still expect him to play. And he did play right back, with Zinchenko playing left back for Ange's side. So let's see what happens with this discombobulated Forest team. I'm unsure if Murillo is set to be back, and also Milenkovic picking up an injury. So Forest quite all over the place, and I'm looking to be getting rid of Williams at some point down the line. On the bench, we've got Dubravka, Esteve, Goodmanson, and Krupi Jr. Hoping none of these guys make it into my team. So let's move straight onto the midfield. So in the midfield, we've got Cody Gakpo, Bruno Fernandes, Mohamed Kudus, Brian Mbeumo, and Morgan Rogers. Now let's quickly start on Cody Gakpo. Midweek, Liverpool did play, and Ekitike got a second yellow for a red card, missing this Crystal Palace game. And as a Cody Gakpo owner, I'm delighted. This means Cody Gakpo probably gets 15 more minutes, and I'd be surprised to see him not start this game versus Crystal Palace. Now, sure, Florian Wirtz can play on the left wing, but I think that's unlikely. And I know Gakpo has been poor the last 2 weeks, but I don't see him losing the space in this team for Liverpool, especially because he didn't play last game in the Cup. So I think Liverpool are likely to line up with Gakpo on the left, Isak and Salah. I'd be surprised to see anything else, to be honest. And likely or unlikely to see Wirtz play. Again, I'm not trying to put you off him. I'm just trying to picture what is going to line up against this Crystal Palace side. Palace who have looked amazing this season. So definitely going to be a tough game for Liverpool. Next is Bruno Fernandes, who was my captain in game week 5, coming and bringing me 20 points for 9 million. An absolute bargain so far this season. But he plays against Brentford, and we'll take the pair in Mbeumo and Bruno. For me, I feel like United can slot a few against Brentford for sure. And Mbeumo's old club, I feel like he can do quite well. I feel like he's been really unfortunate not to get a return this season, picking up a lot of XG for United. Unfortunate not to score versus Arsenal, and unfortunate not to score versus Burnley. He did return. But hopeful going into this Brentford fixture, of course. And then in game week 7, we do have Sunderland at home, where one of these two are likely to be my captain. Next is Mohamed Kudus, who is at home to Wolves, and I'm licking my lips at this fixture with Kudus. Again, you'd probably prefer a Xavi Simons in this spot. And I would be quite happy as a Xavi Simons owner if I did own him. And he's one player that I do have my eye on going into game week 6 for sure. So Kudus at home again to Wolves. He's not quite got the goal threat I would expect for a player like Kudus at his price point, but I still feel like he's getting enough from me, and he's done well with assists in recent games, and I feel like he can get a goal in this game for sure. Next is Morgan Rogers, who again is playing tonight for Villa, and I will be interested for sure in how many minutes he gets tonight, and that goes for Ollie Watkins also. But for now, I'm happy to start him versus Fulham. We do know Emery does love Morgan Rogers. And again, I would be surprised to see Rogers get out of this team. And if he is going to be out of this team, it is likely going to be for a Harvey Elliott or a Sancho on the left. But let's see what happens with Rogers tonight. Again, my decision will largely be dependent on that. But for now, again, I can't do much with him. I only have one free transfer, and we'll get on to who I'm looking to bring in. But I would be happy to play Rodgers this game week. Again, holding on to him for that at-home game with Burnley next game week. That completes the midfield. As you can see, obviously the armband is not on any of my midfielders. Let's get into the forwards. So up top, we've got Ollie Watkins with Fulham at home and Erling Haaland already in place with no wildcard this game week, which I'm quite happy with. Let me quickly start on Watkins before we move on to Haaland. For me, Watkins is a hold for now. Again, lads, he's been so poor this season. But I'm happy to hold on to him. Again, I don't think Villa have been great at all, don't get me wrong, but Watkins is a player that thrives on chances, and Villa are not generating any of them. And I don't see him losing his place with no Jean Duran around anymore. So I'm happy to go into this Fulham game at home, hopeful of Villa turning things around. Is it likely? I can't say it is. I have nothing to back that. But again, I'm going to play the fixtures at home in the next two, and I don't really have anyone that I think is worth going to. I would rather use the transfer elsewhere, and we'll discuss that in the next section. But again, a lot will depend on tonight. Again, we could easily get an injury to Rodgers or Watkins / Cash, and you won't be surprised with Villa's injury record. But let's see what happens tonight. Maybe Villa can start scoring a few tonight, and the confidence for the boys will be up in this Fulham game. So let's see what happens with that. Next, of course, we got the main man, and let's quickly talk about triple captain. So all week I've had my triple captain active. This was before the information about Erling Haaland got released. Again, there's not been anything too critical about Erling Haaland to not captain him, or triple captain him, sorry. And to be honest, I would be happy doing it. But for me, it's just, why would I risk it? I go into this game week with, I'm not chasing points. I'm at a good place. I'm more than happy to take no risks going into this game week. Not that it will be a risk. I just mean that if there is that slight possibility of him getting an early sub because of a slight niggle he has in his back, I won't risk it. Now, in 60 to 75 minutes, he could easily bag a brace or a hat-trick against Burnley, of course. We only need 15 minutes of Erling Haaland, and that's why we all wanted to triple captain him. But again, it's also the possibility of down the line using it on a midfielder. For example, a midfielder that has routes to points like DEFCON, clean sheet possibilities, the extra point for a goal. That's been looming on my mind, of course. So I've deactivated the triple captaincy armband for now. Again, we will get more information tomorrow in the press conferences, I imagine. And again, I will be doing a deadline stream on Saturday. So I'm not going to say I'm locked in and not activating it, but it is 50-50 for me. And right now, I've deactivated the chip. So Erling Haaland, who everyone is going to have this game week, again, it is just insurance putting the armband on him. I don't see myself captaining anyone else this game week. And if he is a doubt, I would like to think I default on Bruno Fernandes as the vice captain. So that is the 11, lads. Let's talk about my transfer this game week. So just quickly before we get into the transfer section, what is my chip strategy as of now? So like I said, I would like to use a triple captain in game week 6. We've already used our free hit in game week 4. And that leaves us with the wildcard and a bench boost. So for me, I'm looking to wildcard in game week 8. I've been quite vocal for that for a few weeks now, bringing in the likes of Rodgers and Brian Mbeumo ahead of Burnley at home and Sunderland at home, and wildcarding the Villa assets, some United assets and Spurs assets out in 8. And it will give me a lot more information on the likes of a Saka or a Cole Palmer on whether or not I want to go down that route and it'll give me more information with the international break with 2 weeks for me to play around with the team and potentially catch some price rises. So taking the hit on price rises as of now on players like Senesi and Semenyo, even Rhea and Gabriel, but hopefully hoping to pick up some points in between now and then and get a big wildcard team together in game week 8/9. And that leaves me with the bench boost, which I'm happy to play in game week 9 or 10. Again, I imagine I'll stack up with some Sunderland assets in game week 10 or even some Burnley ones. Again, not ideal that I have to use the bench boost, but I'm hoping to have 3 dead assets in 4.0 million or less and one 4.5/5 million forward. So that's the current chip strategy. Just to note, the potential of a double game week in the first half of the season if I do hold on to my triple captain, if Palace do beat Liverpool in this cup fixture in the Carabao Cup, which I think is unlikely. But just to keep an eye on that, and that the triple captain could be held for that. So let's get into the transfer page. So doing a bit of a live section this time around, guys. Do let me know what you're doing this game week. Are you activating a chip, or are you happy to roll into the game week without using a chip? So in this section, I'm going to bring in some of my potential transfers and let's talk about it. So my first transfer that I'm planning on doing is, and this is the most likely one, is Josko Guardiola. Let me bring him in here real quick for Esteve. Now, let me quickly talk about this one. Guardiola is 5.8. Not that the price point matters. I have a hefty 2.5 million in the bank and have the opportunity to bring in a player like Guardiola for Esteve. Not many have the luxury of doing that. But for me, this transfer is for 2 reasons. You get the Burnley fixture at home this game week, which is brilliant. You've Brentford next week, so it's setting you up for 2 weeks. Next week, Cash plays Burnley, Porro plays Leeds, and Nico Williams playing Newcastle. So I don't want to have Nico Williams versus Newcastle. That game could easily be a few goals against Ange's team at St. James's Park. So not ideal for me. But also, in case of a bench in this game week, Josko Guardiola does cover me. If Cash doesn't get the minutes or starts in game week 6, or if Porro doesn't start, or / Nico Williams. Again, unlikely occasion, but again, to keep myself flexible. So that's the most likely move I'll be doing going into game week 6. The other move I am planning and could potentially make is potentially Cody Gakpo. Sorry, let me quickly bring this up. Cody Gakpo, I think this is more unlikely, but I could do Gakpo up to a Phil Foden, of course. So again, Phil Foden scoring in midweek. This is more of a move that I'd like to make, but I just think with that defence, I don't quite have the luxury to do it. I would love to do that, and a lot of managers who are on free hit / wildcard will be bringing in a Foden, and a lot will already have Tijani Reinders. So I'm quite jealous of those with the double up on attack for City. But then again, I am not on a chip this game week, so I think I'm doing quite well without that. One other move that I could make in the midfield is potentially bringing in Matheus Cunha. Now this would set me up for this week and next week with Brentford away and Sunderland at home for the Triple United boys in game week 7. But again, team selection for that will be out next week, and next week's team is even better than this game week's team. I'm looking forward to it. So I could potentially bring in Cunha, but for me it is 1 week too early. And I know a lot of people won't like the triple up on the United boys, but I understand it, to be honest. I guess there is one other move, and that's, like I said, Gianluigi Donnarumma. But again, I just don't think that transfer is worth it for me. I'm happy to go into the game week with Robert Sanchez. So just to recap, I'm likely to do Guardiola because it sets me up really nicely for this game week and next game week. Triple captain is genuinely going to come down to what is going on with Pep's press conferences. And the Villa boys, whether or not I go in with triple on Saturday, will depend on tonight's games with Villa. So no confirmations for anything on what I'm doing. Again, I will be doing this on the deadline stream tomorrow. If you like the video, of course, hit that like button and subscribe. And make sure you do check out my stream tomorrow, because I'm unsure what I'm going to do. I'll be dead honest with you guys. So as usual, lads, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next.